All right. Grand Rising, my fellow Elohim. Here we are. We are live and direct on the Zoom, on the YouTube. Thank you all for being here. Welcome back. It's a sunny Sunday outside. I don't know where you guys are or which state, but it's sunny on my side, at least for the moment. But welcome back. My name is Chris Taylor, and with me is my partner and spirit and my spirit and friend in mind is Mr. Gregory Isaac Thomas. Sir T, how you
Yes, sir.
staying?
Good morning. Greetings. Grand rising to everyone out there. Yes, man. Another beautiful day. Started well. And we're just gonna go into exploring, another area of mind, which is to what is it, Sir Chris? You turn your back on your problem rather than to turn and look back at them, right?
That's right. Looking back at your problem or turning your back on them. What's the difference, you know? So today's topic is turning your back versus looking back
Listen, looking back. If you look back, you're gonna turn into a pillar of salt. Now
on
let
your
him say happen to
problem.
let him say happen to that wife.
Yeah, like wife turned into a pillar of salt and was frozen, themselves until this day. I
Well,
don't want to find her still, but
that's what will happen to the whole lot of us if we keep looking back.
I like how you put that was right there. The whole lot of us.
Yeah.
That's right.
If we
That's
keep
that's what it was talking about. Not a man named Lot, but a lot of people. If
the
we
only
look back, we're gonna be frozen
the
like a
only back
statue, you know?
the only back you should look is to look back at your successes. You look back at things that worked out beautifully. Because what that does do is encourage you that the things in front of you will also work out beautifully. So that's the only thing you should look back at. You don't look back at your sorrows. Your sorrows are things where you accept them for what they were, don't expect them to be any different, and move on from them. That's the only way to move on from them, is to look back at them and don't ask them to be any different. The saying goes that true peace begins right where you stop asking the past to be different. So when you look back at your
Mm.
past, when you look back at your successes, you wouldn't ask those to be any different. So you can look back at those because you wouldn't ask those to be any different. But if you look back at your sorrows, your losses, your regrets, then you're gonna be looking back at them, asking them to be different. And because you should never ask the past to be different, then you don't look at those. When you go back into the archives, you should only be going back to review your successes. Let the past lie where they may, and the only way to make them lie where they may is to accept them to be what they were and see it as a past tense. Accept it for what it is and see it as a past
Mhm.
thing. If you bring it into the present, it remains in the present. But if you leave it in the past, it remains in the past.
So looking back at it, in a sense, is bringing it to the present,
Of course.
you know, because you are to look back at is not turning your back. It is to focus on
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
you look back, you know, you are perceiving something that's behind you in the past, but it's almost like you reversing to go back to it, you know, and do it all over again. So as you say, the only thing we should look back at are the past successes, you know, not the
So,
past
Chris,
transgressions or failure or problems and so on and so forth. Just stay with what worked and focus on that,
whatever you're looking at,
you know.
whether you think you're looking,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're looking at, whether you think you're looking back at it or you're looking forward to it, whatever you're looking at,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you have in your present tense. That's what you're presently creating. So if you're looking forward
Mm-hmm.
to something, that's what you're presently creating because that's what you're looking at. And if you're looking back at something, that's what you're also creating because that's what
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at. So when you look back, don't look back at your sorrows. And I hope when you look forward, you're not looking forward to your sorrows either. So you don't ever look at the negative thing that happened, because if you keep looking at it, you're recreating it. You look at the
Yeah, your
solution.
perception is what keeps things alive,
You look at your solution, you don't look at your problem. Check it, I say you don't look at your problem, you look at the solution. And if you don't know what the solution is, then don't look at nothing at all. Be still.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what the solution is, be still and know that there's a deeper part of you that does know what that solution is. But the only way for you to access that
Yeah.
deeper part of you, you have to be still. You can't access that deeper part of you when you're chaotic. Catch it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You ever see when a gig has spin 30, you ever see a gig was spin and it's so still? It
Them call it a sleeping state.
when
Them
a
say it's
gig
a
is
sleep.
asleep, when them say them put the gig to sleep. Imagine that, where the gig just stay in one place and just spin and spin and spin. It don't move sideways or not like that. It's just stuck in that one place. And it's almost like it becomes invisible because when you're looking at it, um, it's almost going invisible. The state that is in is spinning so fast. It's like the vibration is so fast. It is not. It doesn't look as solid,
It's a piece. It's a
as
piece.
it is spinning. It's that piece, yeah. And that's what you're talking about is to still the mind in that same sense where it's not moving anywhere. It's just in a position of inner peace. And interestingly, that's when you expand into the depths. And we're going to talk about that today based on today's topic. But that's how you expand. Interestingly, you cannot expand until you become at peace. You know, it's like when you dream, it's because your conscious mind is at peace. You're not disturbed by anything. So now your subconscious can roam and expand itself into other possibilities. Um, and that's what we can do consciously as well, is putting your conscious mind in a state akin to sleep, wherein now your higher self can expand. And as I say, if you don't know the answer to a thing, once you put yourself in that state, it the answer comes to you. As them say, it's like a light bulb moment. That's why these things happen in the shower, when you're in the shower, is a calmness to your mind. And that is where ideas come alive because you're now in the deep. The ideas are swimming around in the deep of your consciousness. And that is when an issue or an idea you were contemplating or whatever on how it would, start, or what is the solution to realizing the idea. And then in the shower, boom, there goes that idea, the way, the means, the how just comes right to you, because you're not chaotic at the moment, you're at peace. And that's when it comes.
You
But
know,
sure.
you know what it is, Chris? And because I know only in a shower you get them
Mm-hmm.
intuition that in the toilet. You get them intuition that
Yeah.
It's because you're in a small
Yeah.
enclosed. It's because you're in a small enclosed area, both in the shower and in the toilet.
Mm.
You are left to yourself.
Yeah.
So now the self can come to you. Because you yourself feel a level of restriction, a level of constriction while you're in them like a tight spaces there. So that's when your thoughts really start
Yeah.
coming to you, because there's a scripture in the Exodus story where it tell you when Jacob was running away from Esau, from his brother Esau, after him can Esau look for him to kill him and him a run away. And it tell you that Jacob was left alone that night. And there he struggled with a man until the break of dawn. he had to be left alone. Him send class
Mm-hmm.
wife and all I'm putting them in front. That means if he saw go kill nobody, make him kill them first. And him stay behind. He was left
Mm.
behind when he had that Jacob, that experience, that they said Jacob wrestled with the Lord. No, he was wrestling with his own thoughts, but he had to be
Yeah.
left alone. The key of that argument is he was left alone
Yeah.
that night. There comes a place where you get
Mm-hmm.
it to yourself, that thing can come to you. It's been wanting to come, but your mind too busy and too interactive with too many other things and too many other energies. But when you get
Mm.
loneliness is good, We think it's not good because we don't want to face it. Because loneliness compels you to face yourself. And yourself, all our whole life, we've been running from ourselves. It's like you're looking for yourself, but you don't know say yourself you love. You're looking for yourself, but you don't know say yourself you're looking
Yeah.
for. So each time the self approach you, you keep running from it. As the self been approaching and you keep running from
Hey,
yourself.
hey, certain we just make up a word. Exist, we don't know. You realize that the word lone has the word one in it.
One, yeah, alone.
O-N-E. Oneliness.
Yes,
Instead of loneliness.
it's oneliness.
Oneliness. Yeah.
And we've been
You
running from it.
understand?
We've been running from it our whole life. Nobody like, because when you get lonely, you have to face yourself. And the things about yourself that you don't want to accept, that's the self that keep coming to you. Carl Jung called that part of yourself the
Mm.
shadow. The shadow, it's the part of yourself that you have
Mm-hmm.
suppressed, that you don't want to be, and you can never become whole until you accept back in the piece of yourself there. So we keep running from the wholeness, the
Yeah.
oneness. We keep running from it and I realize it's the solution to the problem you run from.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So we just have to face it, But today we're talking about, you know, looking back, you know, turning your back versus looking back on your problems. Again, turning your back, that is you doing a 180. If you're facing a position right now, if you're facing north, as I am, and you turn your back, you are now facing south. That is you turning your back on north. You no longer have it in your view because your view is what gives it life, is what makes it known. Imagine that. Can't see nothing behind me. My eyes are in front of me. You understand? So whatever you're seeing, you are resurrecting or keeping alive. Okay? So if something is dead in your dead past and you continue to face it, you're going to resurrect it. Because it was dead, but now you've made it alive because you're now looking at it. So if you turn your back on it, whether it is a dead state or a state that is present and is an issue, is a problem, is a bother, all you have to do is turn your back on it. Now, when we're talking about your back, we know that is symbolic, it's not literal. It is you taking away your focus away from the state that is a problem to you. And then the opposite direction, when you turn 180 now, what you're facing is the solution. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the story of Daniel on what solution he was facing rather than what was a bother to him, which he had turned his back on. Yes, sir, T.
Yes, circus. And as you mentioned, taking your attention away from the thing in the past that is bothering you. Because everything that is bothering you is something
Mm-hmm.
in the past. It's something in the past. So to
Mm-hmm.
take your attention away from it, it doesn't mean say it not come to your mind. You don't have memory of it. but you take your attention away from it by accepting it. The only way to take your attention from it is to accept it. Because if you don't accept it, you're gonna keep investigating it. And if you
Yeah.
keep investigating it, that means you have to keep it in your present consciousness. Because you keep examining it. Why did this happen? Where was I when this was happening? And where them did I think, oh, this happened? If you keep going down that road with it, keep examining it, then you're keeping it in the present tense. And that's why you keep feeling it. Because what you do when you bring it back to now, it brings back the emotion that you felt when it first happened. So now you bring back the feeling, and you don't know the feeling is the secret. If you bring back the feeling, then the thing have to come back. Because you is when it's a I am the resurrection and the
Yeah.
life, it is the consciousness it's talking about. It's not a brethren named Jesus. I say, I am the resurrection and the life. No, it's the consciousness. It's your consciousness of the thing that both resurrect the thing that was dead and give life to a thing that never even existed before. You are the one who is doing
The same thing.
all the resurrecting and the life, And you are doing it. So the way to
Hmm.
take the way to keep the thing dead that is dead. The way to keep the thing dead that is dead, that is the thing in the past, is to accept it as it is. Once you accept it, it remains what it is because you accept it, say that's what it is. It's a thing that's in the past that is dead. It's a thing that is in the past and the thing is dead. The only thing that can give it life and resurrect it again is if I give my attention to it. So you don't give your attention to it, you simply accept it for what it is. Don't intend for it to be different any day. Don't think one day you're gonna feel any different about it. No such thing. Accept it for exactly what it is. And that's how you leave it in the past. And as Sir Chris mentioned, you make a 180-degree turn, meaning you start looking totally in the other direction. Because what you find in what direction, you can't find the same thing in the next direction. Then. If you're looking at the east and see sunrise, you can't look in the west. Then. So what you were looking at when you were facing that direction is a totally different
That's
thing.
why you only have two eyes and they're in
And
front.
they're in front. So when you turn and start look
Certainly.
the other direction, that's something totally different you look at.
uh, I mean, imagine that. You're there's a reason why we weren't given eyes in the back of our head. Because these are symbolic um expressions, in a human form that we should always focus and can only focus on what's in front of us. But if we want to lose the focus, all we have to do is change our direction, which is changing your state. You're flipping the switch on and off, so to speak. Imagine that. And the thing that was once in front of you is now behind you. And the term where Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." He never talked to the devil. He was talking to his problem. Get behind me. How? By turning your consciousness or your attention away from it, as you're saying, Sir T. Very simply. But we weren't taught these way of reasoning within ourselves.
Yes.
We were taught to reason with fright and fear and doubt and all these different things.
So you find, Sir Chris,
You
in
know,
another way that we were taught, we end up looking neither one way nor the other. We end up looking all over the place. You end up 1 minute you look here, next minute
that too.
you end up looking all over the place. You gaze, and there's a line in our song that I love. A African youth named Joe Better was sang, and a line in the song said, "Being everywhere gets you nowhere."
Nowhere.
Yeah, being everywhere gets you nowhere. And that's what we've been doing our whole life. You're not looking forward, which is looking away from the problem. And you're not, it's like you're all over the place. You're either gazing at the problem or you're glance
your
after.
mother, your mother used to
Never
say, yeah,
know.
spin like gig.
You're all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's why your results are all over the place. You have a good morning and a terrible evening.
Mm.
Because being everywhere gets you nowhere. Zeroing the focused attention of man is as powerful as anything where you think God can do, man. The
Hmm.
focused attention
Yeah.
of man is as powerful as anything where you think that God can do. Have you ever seen some people do some things in all different in sports, gymnastics, whatever? Have you seen some human beings do
Hmm.
something and you wonder how under the heaven could a human being do that? It's called
Oh, you
focus.
mean?
Called
I
focused
know why
attention.
you wanted that certain.
Huh?
You know why you wanted that? Because
Yes.
you don't believe that you can do it.
That you don't believe say you can do it, but is a human being. How do listen to me? We've seen it repeatedly. How does Steph Curry come out of the tunnel? The man not on the basketball court yet, he's in the tunnel. And come out and shoot one from way out there and he just go splash in a little hoop. And you've seen him do it
So
multiple
my time
times.
I just one attempt.
One attempt. You've seen him do it one
So my
attempt several
so my
times.
time I just one attempt. Yeah. Yeah, one attempt.
That is
But like you
ungodly.
were saying to your
A man
point,
is not
it's
supposed to
because
be
of
able
his
to do that.
focus. Right? But because of his focus and consistent practice, he made it subconscious. He's unconscious in that state, Him not think about, I wonder if I'm supposed to push it right or left or
No, you
how,
just see the
how
basket and know say
force.
right in the
He
center.
just does it. Yeah, he just does it. He's in an unconscious state. He consciously knows what he wants to do, but what he does requires no thinking, just doing.
Just do it.
Because he's always being. Yeah, man, he's always being that part of himself, you know,
Yes.
in his mind. He's always that focus is always there. He visualized the game and before the game, he visualized how he's going to shoot his free throws or the game winning shot, all these different things. He sees it way ahead of time. So when the time comes, it's just a replay. He's just replaying what he did in his mind. Michael Jordan said it. I always visualize the game before the game. You understand? And then when I go out there, I'm just replaying what I
What I
visualize.
already saw. Yeah.
Yeah, what I already saw. Yeah,
Wow.
long time no matter about these things, and people don't pick up on it that it is it's all mental. It's all in your own mind. And we're going to talk about it today from this book that you're bringing everything from the mind into this world. You have a world within. you know you have a world within that you're outliving, meaning that you are out picturing, you're out you're showing, projecting what already exists within your own consciousness, your own light. And you know you're just projecting it outward in your world, whether you know it or not. That's what's going on. The interesting thing is when you do know, you have control or better awareness as to what's going on. You don't get flustered or, you know, emotional or lose control. You take control of the wheel, and you or the if you're flying a plane, you take control of the plane controls or whatever you want to call it, and you land the plane that was once in a turbulent state because you were trained and have awareness as what to do in those situations. You were able to not overreact and not get flustered or not panic and just land the plane. You understand? And that's what we're talking about today with our problems, is that problems always and must exist, or challenges, if you want to call them that. And but they all come with solutions. That is the secret. All your problems come with the solution. There has never been a problem that had no solution. They always do. So when I hear people say them not have cure for this, them not have cure for that, them to find it yet, but we cannot say there is none. There is no cure. It's an absolute lie. If consciousness being the only reality knows all and is all, then it cannot create a problem that it has no solution to. It must know the solution.
The solution is the other half of the circle, and there's no such thing as a half circle.
That's right. They're one. You
No,
understand?
exactly. The it's like it's like an object and its shadow. The
Ah,
object cannot exist without its shadow, and the shadow cannot exist without the
no,
object.
the object. Yeah, yeah. The
So
inside
it is
must
with the
exist in the
solution,
outside.
with an issue and a solution.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the same with a bottle. It has an outside
Yes.
and an inside, and the two can exist without each other. You understand? But the solution is always on the inside. What you see on the outside is the problem or the object. But the solution is always within.
Mm.
You know, it's always an inside job. And it rules over the problem. Always does. It always does. You know, that is the interesting thing about your problems. Um, so today we're going to address it. We want to talk about the story of Daniel. We're going to get to it, the story of Daniel and the lion's den. Okay. But before we get to it, let's look at what Neville says here. And we're reading from the book of At Your Command again. The first book in this book right here, Neville Goddard's Deluxe Collection, 14 books from Neville, all in one place. This is a Bible. This is literally, they should call this the Neville Goddard Bible. Okay? Seriously. Um, it states right here that man distorts the gifts of God through his lack of faith. Problems, as we're talking about today, problems are the mountain spoken of that can be removed if one has but the faith of a grain of mustard seed. Let's talk about this real quickly. We coming up in church, we always hear about this statement, certainly, about man must have the faith of a mustard seed. And we used to say, no, no. If our faith is but the size of a mustard seed, I have to say you just need a little bit of faith. And that is not what the story is trying to tell us. Okay? It's not trying to tell us that if your faith is this small, that you have absolute faith. Because certain was saying if you have 99% faith, you have zero faith. Okay? It has to be 100. It has to be a complete circle. You understand? Until both ends meet each other, it's not a circle. Okay? It's the same thing with your faith. It cannot be 10%, 50%, 80%, 99.99%. It has to be absolute. What is absolute? 100. No room for to add or take away. That this is it. You understand? It's complete. And so why did they use this approach? Why did Jesus in the parable book, the story of talking about the mustard seed, why would he use mustard seed? Because mustard seed is about as small as a grain of what do I call it now? Black pepper. Let's use that, right? But in proportion to a mountain, this is the reason why it was used. It is showing you that you are in your own mind when you have a problem. The problem is so mountainous that you are symbolic to the size of the size of a mustard seed. In other words, the problem is so mountainous. It is you see it as a gigantic figure or structure way above your understanding. And to the mountain looks very small, and the mountain to you looks very big. So it is a symbolic representation of how you view your problem, and in reverse, how your problem seem to you. You know, it 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 is so big, you can't get over it, you can't get underneath it, you cannot even get around it. The only way to get your problem out of your way, you have to go through it. You can't go over it too high, can't go below it too low, and you cannot go around. There's only one way. You understand? You have to climb that mountain. All right. You have to conquer it. And the mustard seed, why they use the mustard seed now, again, to say if you have the faith of a mustard seed, is because the mustard seed is only conscious of being a mustard seed. It does not know how to be anything other than that. Thereby, its faith is 100% of what it is. You understand? The mustard seed is a solution within itself, and it's 100% faithful in its solution. It could have been any seed. It could have been a mango seed. You ever see a mango seed planted and turned into Guinea, or vice versa? We've never planted a seed and it become anything other than what it is. So any seed could have been used, but in proportion to the mountain, and the seed is in proportion to you and your problem. That's why they used it, because that's how you see your problem, and that's how your problem sees you. But you can still conquer it if you have absolute faith. Yes, sir, T.
See, we love the way you say it when you say it could have been any seed. They could have used the story writer could have used any seed. Say if your faith be as the size of a guinea seed or any seed, it could have, but as you rightfully say, it's
Mhm.
used to stretch the comparison between the size of the mountain to the size of the smallest seed that the writer could have imagined. You say a mustard seed, we probably that say
Yes.
a black pepper grain or a grain of sand. It's the same thing. It's the same comparison.
Mhm.
But it's just to go show you the vast difference between
Mhm.
what you see your problem as and what the solution and where you see your solution as. However, watch it now. The faith that is required to remove
Mhm.
that mountain now is not hope, you know. That faith is not hope. That faith is knowledge, it's known. In other words, the mustard seed does not hope that it's a mustard seed. It knows
Wait,
it's
no.
100% faith. Because as we rightfully said,
Mm.
99% faith is 100% doubt. If you draw the circle 359 degrees and don't complete the last degree to make it 360 degrees, it is 100% not a circle. It is 100% not a circle. No matter how close you're going to say it look to a circle, 100% it's not a circle.
Mm.
It's incomplete.
Mm.
It's the same thing with the faith and doubt thing.
Yeah.
Now, you should know your thing cannot be rest on something that you hope or something that you believe. Or your faith has to be knowledge. The faith has to be, you can only have full of faith in something where you know. You can't have, no man can tell me say I'm have full of faith in something where you don't know. You cannot have full faith in saying it was a God who created this heaven and earth in herself. You can't have full faith in that. Nobody has full faith in that because you don't know that. You
Mhm.
can't tell me say there isn't a little side inside of you where I wonder, say, I wonder if I really say it. You have to wonder. And that little doubt, that 1%,
Yeah.
that 1% doubt is 100% doubt.
Doubt, yeah.
So you can only have faith in what you know. Now, you, my fellow friends,
Mhm.
and here, you know this law that we are telling you about. The law of consciousness, the law of conscious focus of attention and what it brings. I am sure you all know. If you never know it by now, no one keep coming here Sunday morning time. Because your sister it work. Your sister, that's how it is. We are calling upon ourselves now to let your full faith be in that law at all times. Your full allegiance be in that law, knowing that the law of consciousness can never, not will never, never, the law of consciousness can never fail you. It can never. Any failure in it, you are the failure, and you don't apply the law. Once this law is applied, everything else must comply. No argument in it. Once this law is applied, everything else must comply. I could have God, him have to comply to this law of consciousness, conscious mind. As a man thinks, so he becomes, not as he believes. You don't become what you believe in, according to what you believe in. You become according to what you think. The power of thought is our blessing and it's also our curse. So the animal, them when you see around and find out, they're happier more than every human being, Because them not afraid, but nothing at all. Them not fear death and hell, man. Them just a go through.
No. Yeah, they're not conscious of a hell or a heaven. They're
No.
only conscious of things.
They're
And
just
they're
instinctive.
instinctual.
They're
You
just
never see a
instinctive.
dog like a cat. Fish don't come onto land. Dogs don't go into the ocean to swim, below their depths alive or whatever. Them know, you don't have to tell them. They know within themselves what they are capable of and what they are not capable of,
I,
and
I'm going to show you
operate
something.
as such.
I'll show you something. What thought, with
Hmm.
the power of thought is a blessing and it's a curse. Because there's a reason why only human beings can create anything. Only
Hmm.
human beings can create anything. Because only human beings have the power of thought, where they can think about something from scratch and imagine it. Imagine it and then
Hmm.
make it into a reality. Other instinctive animals are not able to do that. So that's the blessing of it, that
Yeah.
we are able to do that because we can think. The curse of it now is, watch this. Say you will never find another animal. Let's say a cow or a goat. Let's use the Caribbean analogy where we used to. Your cow or your goat, if you tie the cow too near to a precipice, or your goat, he might fall over there and hang himself and hang. But him not
Hmm.
challenge that, Him knows him not to jump over there and he will never jump over there. He might fall over there. The
No,
bank
man.
might roll away with him or something and him fall over there and hang. But he will never challenge that. Him not jump over there. A human being is the only one who will
But man will.
deliberately challenge nature, because of his thoughts. Him thinks,
Yeah.
a human being in fear are the only man are the only thing who will commit suicide. Because him
Yeah.
thinks him have a pending doom where him don't want just a pending doom. The same let me end it right here. Instinctive creatures
Yeah.
don't think like that.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
it's the power of the ability to think. It's our blessing and it's also our curse.
Of course. Yeah, man, a double-edged sword, a double-edged sword. Uh, so here's what Never says right here after talking about the mustard seed. Okay, but if you have the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, they said men approach their problem as did the old lady who, on attending service, heard the priest says, "If you had but the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, you would say unto yonder mountain, Be thou removed, and it shall be removed, and nothing is impossible to you." That night, as she said her prayers, she quoted this part of the scriptures and retired to bed in what she thought was faith. On arising in the morning, she rushed to the window and exclaimed, I knew that old mountain would still be there. For this is how man approaches his a problem. He knows that they are still going to confront him. And because life is no respecter of persons and destroys nothing, it continues to keep alive that which is conscious, that which he is conscious of being. So let's unpack this one now, Sir T. This one is very deep right here. It says that the lady was in church. She heard the preacher says, if you have but the faith of a mustard seed, you can remove the mountain. She in turn went to home, prayed, and upon praying, she recited the prayer. And she's thinking about a literal mountain. She says within herself, if I but have the faith of a mustard seed, when I wake up in the morning, that mountain will be gone. However, deep within her own consciousness, to your point earlier, she knew that the mountain would still be there, even after she prayed. So when she got up in the morning, she said, see it? I knew that this mountain would still be here. It's saying two things. For one, it's saying two things about us in general as people, not just this lady. That for one, when we pray for something, whether we know the story of the mustard seed or not, let's blight that out for a minute. Let's just say we've never heard of the mustard seed story. When we pray for something that is a mountain, it's a problem. We know it exists and we pray. Deep within ourselves, we know that it is still going to be there when we finish praying. We know it's going to there when we finish praying. But we are hoping that somehow it is not there. Somehow we want it to be gone right away. We want it to be gone now as we're finished praying. We don't have the know-how as to how it is going to be gone or fixed or whatever the case may be. So we already understand that even after we finish pray, the problem is still going to be there. What we don't know is how it is going to be gone, how it is going to be fixed, rectified. We know it's not going to be gone just like that. When we're done pray, whatever we're praying about will still exist. Because it don't work like that, where you pray about something and it's gone. You understand? We already know. Just like this lady knew, what she said, I knew it, that this mountain will still be there. It is symbolic to say that even after you finish praying about your problem, your issue, your challenges, or whatever, you already have in your own mind, you know already that after you finish praying, it not gonna go nowhere. It's still going to be there. Okay? Because this is how life works. But what we don't know is after we done pray now, what length of time is it going to take to alleviate this problem? You understand? And because we don't know that, and we are not certain even if it's going to happen, our fate is not as fixed as a mustard seed. Your mustard seed fate is not something that requires a one-time thing or an instantaneous feeling. It has to be a consistent or constant feeling of the problem or the wish fulfilled. It cannot be, well, I'm going to go to bed tonight and pray, and then that's the only time I needed to have the faith of the mustard seed. So when I wake up tomorrow, we don't need to have the faith same way. Um, if I wake up and see the mountain is still there, my faith is gone. That's what this lady was exemplifying. She's showing you that to us, that's how we think, that when we wake up the next morning and see the problem is still there, our faith is gone. We did not sustain the mustard seed. A mustard seed, or any seed rather, always sustain that same nature of whatever that seed is. It cannot lose the nature of the seed. It cannot lose being what it is. Man, to certain point earlier, it's a blessing and a curse. 1 minute we think we can, and the next minute we think we cannot. All because we are able to think. If we were not thinkers or able to think or imagine, and we are just fixed of being just this one thing, then we wouldn't, as man, be able to have all the expressions you see in the world. Life would be just like the animal, very one-dimensional, very fixated, very boring. Every day the same thing in the animal kingdom. You understand? They don't ask for much. They're just being. Man, because we can think, we have all these different expressions that come about, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You know? So this lady is really telling us how we behave as human beings. We pray, we know we have the problem, and the minute we see the problem still exists, after we finish praying, of course, we lose faith because we're expecting a change, a quick change. And it's not going to change today, it's not going to change tomorrow, it may not even change next week. And so every day that comes, our faith withers. It becomes the circle that we started out with, start to become a non-circle or a half a circle or until it just withers away completely, never getting back to the circle of completion where our faith is absolute. Because we work by sight, not by vision. We have to see the solution working out, and then we can, and that's what sustain our faith. Our faith is by sight. If we see it working out, oh yeah, man, it's happening. So we hold on to faith. But that is not true faith. Holding on when there is nothing to hold on to. But your vision of the completion of your wish fulfilled. What is about that certainty? Oh, certainty, probably busy. But that's what we want to unpack from that instance or from this story that the lady um saw the mountain and decided that within herself, she said, I already knew it was not going to be removed. um it's not really trying to tell us that she thought the mountain, she was thinking of the mountain as something literal that the preacher was saying. We do know that we have those misperceptions of that's what the Bible was saying, um, to some untrained mind to think that you're talking about a literal mountain. But in the Bible, these writings are used symbolically. Mountain is used to address a problem. Something is mountainous. It's something that you have to mount, climb over. Um, and we always see our problems as that. Was it last week or the week before we talked about Moses, that he was talking about the mountain. He was talking about Nebo, which is a desire. Nebo in their language is a desire. Okay. But he talked about we're going to go climb up to Mount Nebo because your desire always seems to be a mountain. It always seems to be hard to scale, meaning that you don't see how it is going to happen. It's a desire, not necessarily a problem as we're talking about today, but either way, whatever we desire to accomplish, if it's to alleviate an issue, the desire to do it is going to appear to be mountainous, difficult. That is Nebo. You understand? Your desire is Nebo. It's a mountain. Whether it's something that is uh, on your bucket list, want to go to Paris, Europe, wherever, it's still going to appear as a mountain because in your present situation, you don't see how it's going to happen or when or even if. So that's why people say, in most cases, it's a wish because um, it's not something that you can foresee or envision happening necessarily because you're judging that happening based on your present situation, you know. So it doesn't match up, it doesn't equal the end result where you are right now. So when we have desires, we foolishly um, tend to use our present circumstances to determine if the desire is even possible. But you're taught biblically to not focus on your present conception of yourself. You understand? You are to go to the very end. You are to turn your back on whatever you're conscious of now, whatever your present is. You are to turn your back on that. Whatever problem or lack of money or lack of whatever you're facing, you're to turn your back on that. You understand? And you are to move only in the direction of the solution. Okay? Start walking towards the direction. As long as your back is turned to the problem, where if you're facing the opposite or opposing the problem, you can only be going to the solution because they are opposite of each other. You understand? One is on this side and the other one is on the other side. You understand? So turn your back to it and walk towards the solution. You may not see it. You probably will not see the solution. You understand? But if you keep on progressing, it'll come and make itself be known. And furthermore, as you're walking away with your back turned, guess what you're doing? You're leaving the problem behind because the problem cannot chase you once you turn your back, the problem only chases you once you focus on it. That is the difference. It only follows you with your focus on it. Your focus is what is, or your attention is what keeps it alive or what resurrects it because it's an attachment. You attach your consciousness. Your focus is, in a sense, your consciousness attached to your problem and it keeps it alive. But as you turn it back and walk away, the further you walk, the further behind you leave your problem. So far back that should you turn around and look, it's out of sight. You understand? It's out of sight because you have walked away so far and you are closer to your solution than you were to your problem. And that's really what Neville is trying to say here about this particular thing. And he says, this is how man approaches his problem, as what the lady says. She exclaimed that the mountain is still there as she thought it would be. And this is how we focus on our problem. And as consciousness is not a respecter of person, it can only keep alive anything that you are conscious of being because consciousness does not destroy a thing. It cannot destroy anything. It can only make alive, keep alive anything that it focuses on. You understand? Everything that ever will exist and can ever exist is always going to be in consciousness for you to be conscious of it or unconscious of it. But it will always be in it. It cannot not be anywhere else because everything exist in consciousness. Consciousness is the only reality. There is no such thing as uh, nothing in terms of a problem and so on and so forth. All these things always exist. The solution exists, the problems exist. All these things are there in consciousness, but they only come alive. The solution or the problem only come alive depending on which one you are conscious of being. If you're conscious of being the problem, meaning your focus and attention is on the problem and the emotions and the feeling and the worry and the frustration, as Reverend I like to say, if all those things are in your forefront of your mind, then you're keeping alive the problem or making alive a problem. But if you in turn focus only on the feeling of relief from the problem or what it would feel like should the problem not exist anymore, whatever that feeling is, if that is your focus or absolute, meaning the only, not one day and then the next day you're back to your problem again, but always the focus, then this is what you will keep alive and make alive in your world. And the problem, because it's starved of conscious awareness from you, it dies. You understand? It withers away. It dies under the weight of its own nothingness. Nothing is there to hold it up. Your consciousness is the pillar or pillars that holds up this thing, above ground. And the minute you take your consciousness away, it falls under the weight of its own nothingness. You understand? And but it is always going to be there for you to pick it up again. This is the dichotomy of consciousness. The same thing you undo, you can redo. The same thing that you kill, you can make it alive again. This is why people continually relive perpetually the same problem. 1 minute it's here, and then it gone, and it's back again, like a loop, you know, because you are subconsciously, deep within your consciousness, attached to this thing that ever so often it makes that circle and comes back again, you know. But if you know, as we know in consciousness, that it is the only reality, and it is your awareness of a particular thing that's keeping it alive. Whenever it does come, you don't question why or how or any other questions that may come to mind. You now know that you are the cause, and what you should do is to fix it, is to turn your back on it and to not give it your full attention, or focus and stuff like that. Certi, are you there? Certi, the guy can get he got busy
Yo,
or is having what up, G?
what up, G? What's going on, bro? Yeah, man.
What's up, G?
Yeah, just chilling, man. Just wanted to chime in real quick. As far as the mustard seed,
All right, go ahead.
can you hear me clear?
Yeah, man. Nice,
Okay,
nice, loud and clear.
okay. As far as the mustard seed, what I get from that is conversation with God always talks about the sponsoring thought.
Mm,
The sponsoring thought is the thought that's behind the thought that's behind the thought, or the belief that's underneath the belief that's underneath the belief. When you go down to its
mm,
core, that final belief is
mm,
what you truly believe about life, or your experience, or money. We each have a
mm,
sponsoring thought. The original, or the Bible calls it original sin. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
so most people, you know what I'm saying, they have to get down and dig down deep within them and figure out what is their true sponsoring thought about whatever topic that about whatever topic or subject that they're trying to accomplish. But oh man, these kids come. But yeah, man, the sponsoring thought most people sponsoring thought is um oh, things always don't work out for me, or money is the root of all evil, or I knew this was gonna happen to me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? This is what they're deeper
Yeah.
thinking and feeling about whatever topic. So even if they have a desire, they never got past that. They never changed or
Sponsor.
reversed their sponsoring thought or sponsoring
Hmm.
belief. So you got to dig down and and
Hmm.
and and change and really look within you and see what you truly feel about whatever the situation is, wealth, money, good things coming in your life. So and also like you say, attention or thought or water is what we are. You know what I'm saying? What it's what we that's what we do to bring things within our reality. So we all have at least I know we have way more than 5,000 thoughts in a day, but the majority of time out of those 5,000 thoughts, you know, I would say about 4,950 of them
Hmm.
are negative thoughts, or it's not gonna go right, or I can't, something's gonna go wrong, or you know what I'm saying, or money, I'm always
Yeah.
doing, I'm so stupid, or this, you know what I'm saying. Maybe 50 thoughts out of the day
Yeah.
is positive, or but have
Two
a bright
different balls of
outlook. You know what I'm
energy.
saying?
Two
So
different.
you know,
Yeah.
G, me and you,
Hmm.
we study this. We study neural pathways. So the more negative
Hmm.
thoughts, the more negative thoughts that you think, your brain has neural pathways or like highways that 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 are
Hmm.
already kind of built within your brain. So you got to change as you tip the scale and flip it to where you're thinking, you know what I'm saying, 4,000 positive thoughts a day and maybe 1,000 negative ones.
Yeah.
You change those neural
Yeah.
pathways within your brain. So now you got
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
whole new highway that's flowing through you, that's flowing through your mind.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what we truly have to do. Like pay attention, stay alert to what's going on within us. Uh, what's our dominant thought? What's our dominant feeling? That's why it's best
Hmm.
for us to pre-program how you want to feel. Write down how you want to feel, what thoughts you want to have, and then when you catch yourself, you know what I'm saying, you catch yourself feeling bad or thinking something bad, you're it's gonna be kind of hard to. I'm not saying it's gonna be hard until the more you practice, it becomes way easier. But um, you're gonna think, but the easiest way to do is to pay attention to how you feel. So if you're focused on how you feeling throughout the day, you can tell what track you're on or what highway is flowing through you based off how you feel. That's the one thing we can always um, stay alert to within is our feeling. If you're feeling happy, feeling bliss, you're feeling at ease, at peace, the path,
Hmm.
the pathways that's flowing through you or the highway that's flowing through you is all beautiful thoughts and prosperity and everything flows. Everything God flows everything through you. You know what I'm saying? Or God works magic always in my life. You know what I'm saying? If these are the highways that you're
Yeah.
building for yourself, your feelings will tell you that. Same thing on the opposite scale. If you're feeling bad or depressed
Mm.
or you know what I'm saying, angry or frustrated, you still on those
Those
same
are the highways you built. Yeah.
you're on those original
Yeah.
highways that you know what I'm saying
Yeah.
society teaches us to
I would
to
I would call
have.
those low ways. They're not even highways. These are low ways. They keep it. They keep you low. Keep you in
Yeah, man.
traffic. The highway keeps you out of traffic. which is so symbolic to what you're saying. Um, Creating a higher dimension, so to speak, based on building higher, better neural pathways that will flow the flow of consciousness because of your neural pathways will be um, easier, freer, no hangups and stuff like that. But if you have these lower vibrational neural pathways with a bunch of negative thinking, it was built with negative things. It's like building your house on sand versus building your house on a rock, as says in scripture. You know, um, even though it's a bunch of sand, meaning negative thoughts, it's going to fall apart. And if it's it's not going to be good. It's just always going to be adverse events or adverse experiences because of how you build your house. You understand? And with the rock, as stated in scripture, you have to build your house on the rock. So you have to build your house with rocks only, not on sand, but on the rock, and that has to be primarily what you do the most throughout your day, throughout your life, you know. Unfortunately, we were instructed to think negatively most of our lives until we caught ourselves and we're in the position that we're in now to rethink or to reimagine. Um, we are redoing everything. You understand? We are learning what to do, unlearning what we did, and then relearning what we were supposed to do in the first place. And then we have to do more of the relearning um, to catch up and to surpass all the negativity that we've built. It's amazing how no matter how we come here every Sunday, every month, every year, however long we've been doing this, um, the negativity is still around us. You understand? It has not gone anywhere. So we have to become this ball of energy that even in the presence of the negativity, that it does not affect us. We have to build up the ball of energy to that state of being or state of awareness because you can easily fall back into your old self because of emotions and old programs that are still running in the background that you did not address. You understand? So we
And
have to always have this sense of awareness to stay strong, to stay focused um, on building this ball of energy of positivity or of light versus darkness. Yes, G.
yeah, yeah, G. And also our environment too. We have to understand that
Mhm.
we're influenced by our environment, and we also influence our environment as well. So everybody
Mhm.
around us is going through this same process, has the same, but the
Mhm.
majority of people are have the negative neural pathways or negative that dark cloud hanging over their head. So you're going around these people,
Mhm.
and you can just hear how they talk, what their conversation is, and you can see which highway or which lowway is
They're
flowing
on.
through them just by. So you have to stay alert, especially when you're at work or in your environment or talking to your whatever your family members and friends, your loved ones, your wife, your husband. These people
Yeah.
are not even alert to this process and or understanding of this is
Oh.
our attention creates. Consciousness creates, imagination creates. They don't
Mm.
even understand that process. That this is what's going on. This is the game of life that we're playing. You cannot not think. You cannot not feel. You cannot not believe or hope or whatever. You cannot. You're always going to be doing this. There's no timeout in this process. You can't call timeout. You got to keep playing this game. So our environment. The key is to stay alert at all times and pay attention. It's going to be easier for you to pay attention to how you feel, control how you feel, and stay alert within you. Because the more you feel good, you do it on purpose. Feel good on purpose. Feel blessed on
Mm,
purpose. Do it on purpose. Like no matter what, I'm gonna feel good today. No matter what, I don't care what, you know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna feel good no matter what. And the more
yeah.
you do that, positive thoughts are gonna flow within you. And when a negative thought tries to come in, you can see it. You're alert enough to catch it. Oh, I see you. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah, I got you. I see what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? You're able to
yeah.
catch it right then and there and reverse it or flip it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can always
Yeah.
a positive thought is more faster than a negative thought. You know what I'm saying? If you send out a negative thought, you can always cancel it out. Like how you say, G, cancel, but you got to cancel it out with a
Hmm.
positive thought. You know what I'm saying? Send a positive thought
Yeah.
out there to go catch that negative thought and cancel it out. You know what I'm saying? And get back on track. Get
Hmm.
back to feeling good. Get back to feeling, you know what I'm saying? Listen to beautiful music. You gotta do things,
Hmm.
have a strategy, a game plan, you know what I'm saying? Listen to good, have a set a
Yeah.
like a playlist that makes you feel good, a list of songs that you love, you listen to, you know what I'm saying? Or your
Mhm.
family, your wife, go kiss them, go hug them, your kids. Yeah, I use my family to feel good. Like my kids, I use them. You know what I'm saying? They don't know that I'm doing that,
Yeah.
but I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but you just got to have your own strategy. Everyone, you all know, each one of us know what what we can do to make ourselves feel good. So you gotta apply your own strategy and pre-program how you want to feel, no matter what, and just do it on purpose. Be on purpose. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
just understand that we're gonna be doing this no matter what. You're gonna think, you're gonna feel, and this is the process of creation. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay alert to
Yeah.
conscious that you thinking, you feeling, you believing, you hoping, you're creating. We're creation machines, so we can't. There's no way we can't create. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna
You're
be,
always at it.
yeah, we can be affected by our environment, or we could be the one to
Affect
affect the
ourselves.
environment. And yeah, that's it,
Mm.
G. I just wanted to be quick, man. These kids are going crazy, but I love y'all, man. And yeah.
All right, thank you, G, for that input, man. That was much needed and right on point with everything you said there. Um, using the neural pathways and the highways and loways, and really like that. Whichever one you build, is where you're going to operate from the most, unfortunately, you know. And building that light or that ball of energy, like light versus darkness. Notice that light, even when it's smaller than darkness, supposedly, it always light up. Nothing can stop the light from being lit. It in the presence of darkness, the light still shines, you know. And in that space where it shines, darkness cannot live. You understand? Negativity cannot live in that space of positive enlightenment or positive outlook. No matter how dire the situation might seem, the dire appearance of the situation is that darkness, but your perception of it, you know, is either going to be two ways. You're going to join the dire appearance and accept it as there is no way out, or you're going to deny the perception that you're seeing that even exists the first, and you're going to be only light, which will um, light your path as you're going through a dark tunnel with a candle or a flashlight. Notice that even though the darkness is still around you, wherever you shine that light, the darkness fades away. That's why you can see. That darkness represents your perception. I mean, sorry, the light represents your perception, um, that is of a higher expectation or higher awareness, the highway that you're building while you're in the presence of darkness or despair or whatever you want to, call it. All right. Um, we're gonna get to the story of Daniel before we close out, as to where we, got the title from today. Turning your back on turning your back versus looking back on your problem. Which one is it that we're doing and doing the most? Are you turning your back on your problem most of the time? Or are you looking back like Lot's wife most of the time? So to G's point just now, whichever one you're doing the most of, that is the neural pathway that you are making stronger. Okay. Um, and so we want to be careful or certain as to what we're really doing subconsciously or unconsciously, with our consciousness, because that's what's creating your world. Okay. From within, and whatever you create from within, you create without. All right. To another point that G mentioned here, it says right here that things will only disappear as man changes in consciousness. Okay. Only if you change in consciousness, which means to be indifferent or turning on the thing that you're experiencing. Only if you change in consciousness. You cannot change the thing physically. You can only change it in your mind. If you think you change it physically and you're still conscious of it here, you have not changed it because it's just going to reappear. Even though you changed it on the outside, whatever change that might have been, you might have, to use this analogy, you might have gotten into with somebody and you decide to kill the person because you fear them killing you. You understand? But you're always going to go through life with the fear still of someone else doing to you what you are afraid of being done to you. You understand? You're still conscious of that. So killing that person did not change your future, so to speak, or change how you think. It's even gotten worse. Now you are really, really thinking, this is not going to end well. And so always in the back of your mind, as they say, which is the back of your mind is your subconscious, you're always, that's buried there is always this um expected outcome, you know, that can show up at any time like a thief in the night. You understand? And Job said it, the thing that I feared has come upon me, you know. So you cannot fix your problem by getting rid of um the problem physically. You're only going to create more of it. You only get rid of it here in your consciousness. You understand? By turning your back on it, taking away your attention from it. And interestingly, um, someone else may come and take care of that person that you are afraid of or that you are concerned about. Um, but you don't have to have that blood on your hands. You understand what I said? You don't have to have that blood on your hands because you did not take it upon yourself to do this thing physically. You just made peace with it and you move on. And somehow the person either move, quit the job, got fired, who knows? Or y'all become friends sometime in a strange way. You guys found a common ground and you're no longer enemies. Um, that you once were. You strangely, found a common ground with this person that you once hated, and vice versa. But because you went in consciousness and you made peace with it, this is what transpired. Okay. Let's go to the story here of Daniel. Okay, where it talks about this problem. So here it is. Um, okay, let's start it from up here. It says here that because I am, which is your consciousness, is the resurrection and the life, you must attach this resurrection power to that. To you must attach this resurrection power that you are to the thing desired, if you would make it appear and live in your world. Now you begin to assume the nature of the thing desired by feeling, I am wealthy, I am free, I am strong. And when these feels are fixed within yourself, your formless being will take upon itself the forms of the things felt, because your consciousness is formless. All right. And thereby it can take upon itself any form that you give it, such as wealth, health, and so on and so forth. It says you become crucified upon the feelings of wealth, freedom, and strength. Remain buried in the stillness of these convictions. Then, as a thief in the night, and when you least expect it, these qualities will be resurrected in your world as living realities. The world shall touch you and see that you are flesh and blood, for you shall begin to bear fruit of the nature of these qualities newly appropriated. This is the art of successful fishing for the manifestation of life. Um, Here we are. So, successful realization of the things desired is also told in the story of Daniel in the lion's den. We used to think that these stories were historical, that these stories were real. We've come to find out that the story was just a story of your consciousness and not of a man named Daniel. Okay? Daniel never existed. The word Dan means the prophet, and El means God or consciousness. All right? You are Daniel. You are consciousness. You are a prophet. All of us is Daniel. Okay? You are always Daniel. You're always this personification of consciousness that you can activate at any particular time. All right. So he never existed, was never in any lion's den, but we're going to talk about the story of him being in the lion's den and what it represents. All right. The Bible was written in the garb of history, kind of similar to, and we're going to talk about this topic probably next week. To be honest, where there was a story in the Bible where it says it is easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. So it's using a place or a thing that actually exists, the eye of the needle. It's not a needle that we use for sew clothes. I used to think foolishly coming up, that's what it meant, the eye of a needle. A camel cannot go through that eye. So it was not speaking of that. It was speaking of an actual place in Israel. I believe it's in wherever that they call it the eye of a needle. That's where the camels walk through, and that it's a difficult walk, based on the size. However, the camels do make it through, and they were saying that it is even more difficult for a man who is rich to go to heaven rather than how difficult it is for the camel to go through the needle eye. And people took that as a literal story to say that a rich man cannot go to heaven. They took that story as literal, that a rich man cannot go to heaven. So next week we're going to address that. What does that really mean when the Bible says It's easier for the camel to go toward the eye of the needle than a rich man to go to heaven. All right. So these are just how the Bible was written using history or a object to dress up the story, but you're supposed to get the meaning from it if you're enlightened. You understand? And not reading it as a historical book because you're going to miss the message. You're going to miss the point. All right. So right here it says that um here it is recorded that Daniel, while in the lion's den, turned his back upon the lions and looked towards the light coming from above. That the lions remained powerless and Daniel's faith in his God saved him. Okay? It says, what did Daniel do? Turn his back upon the lions and look towards the light. Okay? That is above him. In the demonstration of that scripture, in the Jehovah's Witness book, they have this yellow book that I studied from back in the day when I was younger. And in that book, you'll see Daniel looking up while inside the lion's den, and the lion is right behind him, and he's looking into a light. The light is coming down like this. People read that and think in those days it was actually a light shining down from heaven. The only light shining from heaven in this case is the sun, but they're not talking about that light. Okay. That's only symbolic. The light we're talking about here is your consciousness or what you're conscious of being. Daniel, for a moment, was conscious of being the lion or being eaten by the lion. Okay. But then he turned around to be conscious of the light, which is what's going to bring solution to his present or current state. You know, how is he going to change it? You have to turn to the light. Within the light is the solution. And so he was focusing on that and nothing else. He said that this also is your story, and you too must do as Daniel did. If you found yourself in the lion's den, you would have no other concern but lions. If you found yourself in the lion's den, you would not be thinking of one thing in the world but your problem, which problem would be lions. Yet you are told that Daniel turned his back upon them and looked towards the light that was his God. If you would follow the example of Daniel, we would, while imprisoned within the den of poverty, of sickness, take our attention away from our problems of debts or sickness and dwell upon the thing we seek. Okay? If we do not look back in consciousness to our problems, as we stated today, the topic, um, that we are turning your back or looking back at your problem. Turning back versus looking back at your problem. It says, if you do not look back in consciousness to your problems, meaning to be conscious of the problems, but continue in faith, believing ourselves to be that which we seek, meaning to already be living in the end of what we desire, we too will find our prison walls open and the things sought, yes, whatsoever things realized, meaning that if we only focus on the things desired, what is the thing desired? Whatever the solution is to your problem, that's going to be your desire, automatic. If you're in prison, your desire is to be free. If you're facing prison time, your desire is to be uh, found not guilty. You understand? Um, and have found and try to find the right lawyer and the right juror and the judge, and all these things are going to be your desire naturally, you know, because we know what we're facing, thereby we know our solution. Our problem is we don't know how the solution is going to come. We know the solution, but we don't know how it's going to come. We don't know about what means it's going to be found. But we know the solution, which is interesting. It's not like we're like, I wonder what the solution is to being locked up or the solution to facing um, being locked up or whatever. What's the solution to that? We already know. What's the solution to being hungry? We already know. We don't nobody have to tell you. It's innate. You know the solution. We don't know how. And this is where we have to turn to our higher self, which is our true self, to find that solution. So you have to turn your back to your lower self, which is the conscious mind, the limited aspect of consciousness, the part that is externalized, that was cast out of heaven. You understand? That is the conscious mind cast out of heaven, right here on earth, in a limited capacity, roaming the earth. However, you are still one with heaven, even though you're cast out. Your heaven is your higher self. So even though you're cast out or cast down or whatever, you are still in touch, in contact with the higher self. And it's from the higher self where you have to look towards, like Daniel did. So Daniel is in the lion's den. He's in a lower vibration. He's in the conscious mind, facing his problem. And then he realized, but if I just turn and look up towards my higher self, you understand? Look towards the subconscious, the great deep that has within it all the solutions. Look towards that and notice it's demonstrated as upwards and as a light. You understand? And his back is turned to the lions, even though it's inside the den. And the stories goes that the lions, their mouth was held shut. The lions were walking around in the den with Daniel. His back was turned, but they could not open up their mouth to even roar. And people, till this day, when they read that story, they take from it that we're talking about real lions. I have news for you. If you're not a lion whisperer and you find yourself in a den full of lions, do not try that. Okay? The lions are going to eat you. All right? We're not talking about real lions. We're not talking about animals that are in the wild and that does not care who you are. We're talking about your problems. And they used lions symbolically to represent your problems in the Bible. Sorry, T, you there? Sorry, T. I'm not here, Sorry, T. It looks like he's busy with something. Sorry, T, can you hear me? He's unmuted, but I'm not hearing a sound. All right, so it looks like he's busy taking care of something. Yeah, so to anyone out there watching, this program as we are live now or in the future, whenever you see this, here on the One Great I Am, we do not subscribe to a literal or physical or historical Bible. The Bible is not a story of the past. It is a story of the present. All of it. All of it is going on right now. It's not something that happened some 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 and beyond years ago and will happen in some futuristic so-called revelation or prophecy. No, all of what's written in the Bible has already taken place. because it's all about consciousness. Consciousness is a fulfilled reality. You understand? Everything exists in it already. It is now. You understand? It is not something that has passed or something to come. It is all present, a present reality that we're all living based on how we use our mind, based on how we use our consciousness. You will experience these things. Everybody experience problems right now. So the Bible could not be talking about something that happened or that is to come, you know. It's right now. Everything that is talked about is what's going on right now. I don't care what the story is. Noah's Ark, Daniel in the lion's den, Adam and Eve, I don't care what it is. It's all a present reality, telling you who you are, what you're doing, what you will always be doing, what you will always experience. All these things is written in the garb of history. The history is just a clothing, it's just a dressing. Underneath that, the nakedness that you cannot see is what it's trying to tell you about, not what you see the person, to use that analogy, the clothing wearing. We're telling you about what's hidden. You understand? But we dress it up. They dressed it up. You know, the ones who wrote the Bible in a historical fashion. So we can, for one, follow along a storyline, how they dressed it up with who related to whom and so on and so forth, and crossing the Red Sea and all of these different things. They use all that physical stuff so we can have a narrative and follow along with the story, but we're supposed to extract from the story the message that is hidden within the story. Much like how your body takes in food, extract from it the nutrients, and gets rid of the waste. You know, that's what we're supposed to do with the Bible. The Bible is is psychological food that we are reading, absorbing, and cast away any foolishness that doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is not what you see on the surface. It's something that you have to disseminate, you have to decipher, you have to come to the awareness of it somewhere, somehow, and figure it out. Because what you're reading makes absolutely no sense. Nobody can be in a lion's den and survive unless that person, as I've seen a few guys, are trained to handle the lions and be around the lions. And they tame these lions from they were very young. Them not tame a wild animal, a wild lions. They grew these lions from they were babies and tame them. You understand? They don't just walk up on a lion in Africa in the wild and it goes like that. Work like that. And they tell you, even when they tame these lions, they still have to be careful. So imagine that. There are certain things they cannot do, even though they tame these lions, because they understand that these lions have an innate nature within them. Um, they work off of instinct. They behave a certain way. And any sign of any threats or whatever, that's the end of you. Okay? Your problems are different. They don't um face up to a lion, an actual lion. You have more control over the problems than you do a lion. And why is that? Because you are the cause of the problem. You did not give birth to a lion or cause a lion to appear. So you have no control over him like that. No absolute control. But your problem, yes, because you're the one that gave it birth. You caused it. You're the parent. So you have absolute power over your problem. The thing is, We do not know this. We were not told this. We were told our problem just show up out of nowhere, just out of spontaneous foolishness, just appear. And then we have to deal with it. And because we don't know where the cause, and that if you caused it, you can uncause it, you can undo it. Because we don't know this, the power devours us like the lion, absolutely devours you. And that's why people perpetuate the problem because they can't figure out, you know, how and why it's here and stuff like that. And in some sad case, commit suicide because them can't deal with it, cannot face it. So, but you here, all of us here, we have problems that are seen as a mountain at times. Can I get over? Can I get under? Can I get around? We have to climb it. Only way to conquer it is to climb it. Or it's iron, like in this case with Daniel. And you cannot get out of the lion's den. You're trapped inside. There's no way out. You understand? All you can do is courageously turn your back on the lion, turn your back on the problem, and the problem will keep its mouth shut. It will have no control, no power, because the power that the problem has comes from you, from your focus on it. That is the only power that it has, is your constant attention to it. But the minute you turn away from it and look at the solution and put your power there, the light, consciousness, or becoming conscious of the solution, you don't know how it's going to happen. Just become conscious of it. That's all you need. Become conscious of it long enough, often enough, frequently enough, and like a thief in the night, as it says right here, you know, like a thief in the night, it will come upon you. It only comes upon you because of your focus, though. Your focus was consistent, um, constant, um, oh, all day, all night. It was just set, never wavered, 100% fit as that of a mustard seed. And because you sustain the focus, the fit, the solution, the depths of your higher self came about and swept you off your feet. It could come by way of a friend, stranger, you name it, but it's on its way. But you have to sustain that level of faith all the way throughout the existence of this certain problem until the solution comes. G?
Yeah, G. The writers of the Bible, wrote it. They also wrote it in that way to hide the truth in plain sight as well, to hide the truth from the unawake, the unawake student, the sleeping student. But
Yes.
once you become awakened master, you can see through, you can decode what they're truly trying to say. So just like
Mm-hmm.
the story of Cain and Abel, uh Cain Cain kills his brother Abel in that story.
Mm-hmm.
So Cain is can't. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Abel is I am able. So
Mm-hmm.
every time you say you can't do something, in that moment you just killed Abel. So and that works for every single scenario, every single topic in your life, every single thing that's
I like that, G.
every-
Uh,
it's true.
yeah.
It don't matter what the situation is. Like you think I can't do it, man, or I don't believe it's gonna happen, or and that you just killed Abel. You just killed Abel. You don't. You know what I'm saying? This process is happening every single day. It's happening now. It's not something that happened, like you said, is in the past. Is something that's continuously happening. You know what I'm saying? It's continuously
Mhm.
coming into your present moment.
All because of your
The
attention to
thoughts
it.
and beliefs and stuff that yeah, and the present
Mhm.
moment, what you're experiencing in the present is a residual of what you've thought in the last moments. You know what I'm saying? It's almost you're living in like a residual of what you're experiencing now
Hmm.
is because of the thoughts you were having in the previous time,
Before.
previous past. You know what I'm saying? So same thing is
Yeah.
what's gonna happen in whatever the future. We know what the future is now too. Is not really the future, and the past is happening now too. The future is a thought
Hmm.
projection. The past is also a thought projection too. But you, no matter what, you're
Hmm.
always here right now. You know what I'm saying? But you
Yeah.
can go,
Hmm.
you can project into the future, and you can also project into the past. But you're
Hmm.
standing in right here where you're at right now, doing that. So,
Yeah.
but
So you bring it to you. You bring it to you.
yeah. So your experience that you're experiencing now is a cause is the you're experiencing that because what you've been projecting and either the past or the present, whether you've been projecting positively or negatively in the past or positively or
Hmm.
negatively in the future, that residual. So if you're at every single moment in time, you're acting as Cain, always saying I can't or it's not gonna happen. Oh, things always happen. It's okay. You're gonna keep experiencing. You're gonna keep killing Abel. You're gonna keep every single time you do it, you kill Abel. You kill Abel. You kill Abel. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, what you know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able. You gotta project as able, or seeing it as God. You know what I'm saying? God always works perfectly in your life. My life flows. Everything flows to me. I'm grateful for all the blessings that just continuously happen in my life. Man, I knew I was going. I knew it was going to happen for me. I don't know how. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I just know. I just know it's going to happen, man.
Yeah.
Things all comes, but it
Mm.
just happens. And in that moment, you're being able. You just got to keep being able, and kill Cain. You know what I'm saying? Kill Cain, just reverse
Yeah.
it. But yeah, that's it, G. I love you, bro. I love y'all.
Love it too, G. Yeah, man. I like that analogy that that reference you make right there with Cain means I can't and able means I am able. Yeah, man. Sorry to you, did No, yeah, sorry to I don't know if he's having phone issues or whatnot, but I see his phone is unmuted, but no sound. Um, can you hear me, G? Just want to
Oh
make
yeah,
sure
I
I'm
hear
being
you now.
heard.
I
Not
accidentally
sure.
jumped off. I hit the wrong button. My bad. I hear you.
Okay. Yes, I see Certi is unmuted, but I'm not hearing his voice. I don't know if he's trying to speak and it's not coming through, or he's not aware of what's going on with his phone. Let me see. He just dropped off, so it looked like he's having connection issues. Yeah, he'll be back in. But yes, I like the fact that you brought those two guys up, Cain and Abel being the first two sons of Adam and Eve. And another way to look at it too, G, is um, you know, who was first and what do they represent? So Cain was the firstborn. Um, Abel was the second born. Cain was said to be a man of the field. He was a hunter, was like a sheep herd, right? And stuff like that. Therefore, when he was given away sacrifices, he killed a sheep. And Cain, because he's a man of the field, he was given his sacrifices were things of the field, the ground. And the story said God did not like that. And that's why he was at Cain and at Abel and killed him. Now, these are all dramatizations. What the story represents here is that the first man is your conscious mind. Okay, that's the first. The one who has the five senses is always first. You are aware of being here. You can see, you can hear, you can taste, you can smell, you can touch. You know that you are a human being or whatever, your flesh. And even that has some deeper meanings. Um, we'll go over another time, um, but you know you're here, but you do not know of your higher self. The higher self is Abel, who was born second. And you lacking ignorance, lacking knowledge and ignorant of this higher self is killing the your able self, the higher self. You are always doing things with effort, um, trying too hard, trying to do everything on the outside with the five senses. The five senses tells you you don't have the money, you're not healthy, you're sick, you're not wealthy, you're a man, you're a woman. It is telling you all these different things. Your higher self is cut out of the picture at all times. So that's in a sense you killing your able self by ignorance, by not knowing that higher self exists. And as you go through life without being aware of this higher self, even though you go to church and you hear about God and angels and the devil and all these nonsense, you go through all these things and you still are unaware of your higher self because your higher self is within. Um, but what you learn from the churches and stuff like that is without. So because you put your faith and your attention and whatever in this external God or external ideology or theology, you're still using the five senses. You're still using the conscious mind at all times. You are unaware of your higher self. That is the self that lives within. And is the self you are supposed to tithe to be aware of that it exists. And whenever you face issues, challenges, problems, you name it, a mountainous of things, that's where you give, you offer um, to your higher self these problems. Okay? Um, and it will fix it. Adam was made first. Adam is the conscious mind, the five senses. Adam is mankind, male and female, not a man, but mankind, male and female. Eve represents the higher self. You understand? Your ambitions, the things you are aware of being, your emanation. That's who Eve represents. The things you desire is coming from out of you. Man only has one thing to give to himself, and that's himself. Not have anything else to give. Everything comes out of man. Everything. We have never seen a TV fall from the sky. We've never seen cars fall from the sky, houses fall. Everything we see made came from inside of man. You understand? And that is your emanation. Everything is emanating from you. That is your Eve. You understand? That comes from within you and is expressed, externally, and is what you have to look forward to or upon at all times to bring forth your desire. That's why Eve was cursed Not cursed as in coming to you, Clifford. Not cursed as in we see curse as something evil. It's just a exaggeration to say that Eve, which is your higher self or your subconscious mind or your ambitions or all these good things that you desire, is going to have to carry these things through. I have to carry these things out. So your higher self is cursed in bringing forth all the things you desire because you are going to desire them consciously. You understand? You're going to desire something and you're not responsible for making it happen. Your higher self is the one responsible for making it happen and was demonstrated as a female named Eve, female because only a female can be pregnant with a child. So all these things are symbolic to show the nature of God or the nature of consciousness. Yes, sir, Clifford.
Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Good
And
day, Mr. Clifford. You need a haircut.
I do. Actually, I was planning on getting in there on Wednesday if you had it available. It was on my list to get on your calendar.
All right, you know what to do.
Right? Yeah.
uh,
But somebody had pointed out an interesting statement that's in that story. When you look at Eve, her punishment and her curse, as they put it, was to have her pain would be increased in labor.
yeah,
If Cain and Abel were her first children, she'd have no point of reference as far as an increase. The pain would be the same because she hadn't done it before. So what it's
true.
saying is by having that word increased, Cain and Abel weren't her first children. They were the first children of note. So she had previous children. Because when you look at
Mhm.
Cain, when he does kill Abel, he says that people will come after him and they'll kill him. And he'll
Yeah,
be given the mark that would say, hey, don't kill him because he has this mark. So where did
yeah.
those other people came from? From children they had previously that weren't mentioned in the story, but are
Mm.
implied by that word increase.
Mm.
I thought that was an interesting take because I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah,
It never really occurred to me. It makes sense, but
yeah. Obviously, the story mentions other people that Cain went to in another city, the city of what name?
I think it was
Nod
Nod,
or
right?
something like that.
Nod.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So he went to another city that never was never spoken about prior to. But if we're going chronologically by the events leading up to that, then we cannot even use that it predates um
Uh,
Cain and
and that,
Abel
but the book
because
isn't chronological.
chronologically it
It's
does not.
not. It's not a historical book like that. It's
Mhm.
talking about particular events, but doesn't say the
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
of time that went in
Yeah, yeah.
between. Because it's not saying were they
Mhm.
10 years old, were they 50 years old, what was their age. Nobody really knows based off that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, we don't know those guys' age in particulars, but I don't know what age Cain was when he died. We do know what age Adam was when he died. I don't know the age of Abel when he died. So they never mentioned all these different things, or even how old Adam and Eve was when they first had their kids. I know how old they were when they gave birth to Seth. Adam
Right.
was I think they say it was 800, was it? Maybe no. Something like that.
I know
Whatever
he
he
lived to
was.
be 965 or 930, I believe, because Methuselah was the oldest at
930.
965.
Yeah. No, 960. Was it 965? 69. Maybe 65. One of them. But it's
I
it's
don't have it
900
right
and
in front
something,
of me.
right?
Don't hold me to that.
Yeah. No, you're on point. It's 60 something. But all these things were given to us for a reason. The numbers were given to us for a reason. They're symbolic, they're not literal in the sense. But was just showing and demonstrating the that we always have like a duality about us, but we're only aware of one. We're not aware of the second one. Um, and even in the story we're talking about here, we're told that they were placed in the midst of the garden, two trees. And the first tree they mentioned was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then the tree of life. They're given to us in specific orders on purpose in connection with the story. Adam came first, then Eve came first, then Abel. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, then the tree of life. They're giving you all these things in a specific order on purpose to highlight that one aspect of us is five sensory or physical, conscious of good and evil, uh, of limitations, of having problems, of conscious of the solution. So we always have this duality that's going on within us, and that's why the Bible, right? Everything, for the most part, is in duality. We have right throughout the Bible, everything is duality. You have the first, sorry, you have the Old Testament, New Testament. That tells you right off the bat, duality right there. Okay, we have Moses and Aaron, duality right there. We have what name there? John the Baptist and Jesus. We always have these duality, are these two figures you're talking about in the story, Jesus and Judah. Judas. It's really Judah. Um, but we always have this duality going on. David and Goliath, or Samson and Delilah. There's always this duality, and anytime they mention duality, you have to make the distinction between one's physical and one is spirit, or one is the five senses, one is the inner spirit. That's at work. Yes, sir.
And I would split that hair a little
Go
bit to
ahead.
say,
I'm sorry.
all right, I would split that a little bit to say you have a duality and a dichotomy, because the duality would be the two opposites. David and Goliath would be opposites, and you have a dynamic tension between the two, while you have a dichotomy between like uh, uh, John the Baptist and Yeshua, because the younger surpasses the older. And then you have that same thing with Jacob and Esau,
Mhm.
where the younger usurps from the older, or takes away from what was
Yeah,
promised by them. So there's two types in those two
yeah,
forms
yeah,
between a duality and a dichotomy.
yeah. Absolutely. And they wrote the stories like that as to G's point, to hide the esoteric or inner meaning for a time when you become enlightened enough to find the meaning of the story. It's written in a way where it hides the meaning by presenting to you the surface level story, where your focus would be on that. And it did its job. It made us think that everything we read in the Bible, until we became knowledgeable of it or aware of it, that it was physical, or that it was a history book, that these things happen in history. So the writers, being aware of consciousness or of the mind of man, these guys were psychologists, to use that word. They knew how the mind operates, um, and they know that the focus would be on the story, primarily by the masses, and not the focus on the layers beneath the what was presented. We wouldn't see it. But the minute you start to question the story, then you are now diving deep enough beneath the surface to find the inner meaning. If you don't question the Bible, you will not find the inner meaning. You have to question it. You cannot take it at face value. You cannot read it for everything it says and say, Yeah, man, that's how it go. Jesus walked on water, or this guy named Noah built a boat for 100 years and called it the Ark and sailed across the ocean, and the whole world was flooded. And um, Moses parted the Red Sea. You have to start questioning this thing, because in the real world, as we are here, um, we're not seeing nobody doing that. So why would somebody be able to do that back then, who was not Jesus, could walk on water, but they do even more spectacular things than he did? Moses parted the Red Sea. Noah built an ark and somehow got to organize all these animals to obey him, lions included, tigers and everything, to come on this ark. And it don't make any sense. You have to start to question, what does these things mean? The Ark of the Covenant. Like, what the hell is the Ark of the Covenant? Where is this thing at? I watch shows where they spend hours and months and years literally in search of the Ark of the Covenant. And anything outside of them using this to stir up the mind of man into buying into that there is such a thing as the Ark of the Covenant, and in turn making money off of us, our attention to these programs. Outside of that, these people literally believe, that there is such a thing as the Ark of the Covenant buried somewhere on earth that we have not found yet, you know. And within it, it has all these different scriptures. The Ten Commandments is in there. And how could the Ten Commandments be inside of this chase or whatever the hell it is? And everything they say that's in there, angels and cherubim and all this foolishness, swords, and nobody can't find it. Can't find the ark, as big as it was. Can't find that. And we were told where it landed, but somehow it's not there. Ark of the Covenant cannot be found. Nothing can be found. How is it that nothing can be found? Everything should have been found. But it cannot be found because all those things are within your consciousness. You cannot find what's not on the outside, what's on the inside. Wayne Dyer tell a story, and I told this before, but while I'm here, let's tell it. He was going into his house and he dropped his keys inside the house. He went inside, dropped his key inside the house, but the lights were off and he could not find the keys. He looks outside his window and sees the light. So he goes back outside looking for his keys. He knows that he was in the house when he dropped the keys. But because there's no light in the house and he cannot find it, he looks outside and he sees the light. He goes back outside looking for the keys. Can't find it. The neighbor comes to help him. Say, what you look for? Oh, I lost my keys. And then the neighbor spend another half hour with him looking for the keys. After a while, the neighbor said to him, hold on, man. You sure you left the keys? You dropped the keys outside? Where you lost the keys? The guy then turned to him and said, oh, I dropped them inside the house. And the man said, so why are you outside looking for the keys? If you know you dropped them inside the house, he said, because the light is outside. This story is symbolic to the Bible. In the Bible lies within the keys of what it's all about. The keys there. But we listen to people on the outside who appear to be the light. They appear to be the light. And we expect them to tell us what's within the Bible when they're not in it. They're on the outside trying to tell you what's inside, and they're not in it. They have not found the key because they only look externally. They only look at what the five senses tell them. They don't use their spirit their inner wisdom, you know, their uh, imagination. They don't use it. They pay attention to what's going on outwardly, and they draw reasoning from that to say, well, we can't figure it out. We don't know, but only God knows. So these are the excuses that man uses. Only God knows. So why in God's name am I reading something that only God knows? I'm reading it because I'm supposed to know. If I'm not supposed to know, don't tell me or don't show it to me. If only God knows, then God should keep it to himself. You understand? But I'm aware of it because I'm supposed to know what I'm reading. And to Carl's point, these things are hidden to the enlightened. You understand? They're hidden for the enlightened mind to find it. Everyone will find it, but it will not be found at the same time. Everyone will come to this truth, but they will not come to it all at the same time. Everyone cannot get inside the building all at the same time. There's only one door, but everyone will get in. But we can't do it at the same time. And that's how the Bible is. We're not all going to get it at the same time. But the answer, the knowledge, the enlightenment is there. But we have to become enlightened first. We have to become the light so we can see in the dark, so we can cast the light upon what's hidden. The Bible is written in the garb of history, which is darkness. We have to become light to shine upon it so that we can see. Until then, no matter how much light we're in externally looking for something, we cannot find it. That's what that story is telling you. Can't find it, even though you're within the light, because you have to be the light, not the outside. You have to be the light. The search is within, not without. The Bible is an inside job. It's within you. Man has just written it and externalized it so that you can observe it and study it. But what you're really studying is your own self. You know, you're studying your own self. And once you find out the secret, you no longer need the Bible. The Bible is a reference book, it's a manual. Anybody who has learned to fix anything, you first have to look at a manual. But as you repeat it over and over again, you dash with the manual, you don't need it again. I know what to do already. I've done it many times. But in the beginning, I had to do it. Why do you not no longer need a manual? Because you have found that you have always had the knowledge in here. The manual is only highlighting what you already have within you. I don't care if it's something that you've never made. It is still within you because you are consciousness. Everything comes from consciousness. So if it's something that someone has made, you can learn it only because it's already within you. If it was never in you, you could never learn it. I don't care what you do, could never learn it. It's something you know innately, but you just don't remember. Somebody remembered before you and presented it. Know you studied it. I know you know how to work it. It's that simple. The Bible is no different. We are the Bible, internally. And we're just, um, coming to know that and broadcasting it to the masses. And for those who want to hear it, let them hear. For those who don't want to hear it, it's fine. Life goes on. We don't have to beat people over the head like Christians do for you to wake up or accept what is told. It's not that serious. You understand? We're here having an experience. Uh, Whether you become enlightened or not, you're still having an experience, and you can be both. You can be awakened and still sleep. Mean to be conscious of an external world and move and have your being, but you know within yourself that you are not that being. You are just being that being, but that's not who you are. It's just a game, a movie, the Matrix, that you um, accepted, and that it is what it is, but it does not rule over you, or determine, your outcome in life. You're actually in the world, but you're not of it. You rule, your own world while existing, you know, in this present world. All right. So that is what we wanted to bring to you guys today. This story of Daniel in the lion's den, that had turned his back on his problem, the lions, represented by the lions, and facing the light, which they say is his God, um, because the light represents God, represents a higher source, a higher awareness, and he was looking up into it for enlightenment, for knowledge, wisdom, understanding. He knew to not face his problem would be to face the light. Okay. And if he's facing his problem, would be to not face the light, would be to not receive the information needed. You understand? That's the difference in how you deal with your problems. So today's topic, is looking back, turning your back towards your problem, or looking back at your problem. Which one are you doing? Are you turning your back on your problem, which is to look forward away from it? Or are you looking behind you like Lot's wife, and ever focusing on the problem, even while you're trying to move forward? You can't do both at the same time. you know, you're going to fall over something, trip on something, um, or be stuck, like Lot's wife, looking back at your past issues and whatnot. And it's in the past, you know, it's in the past, and that's where it should stay. But oftentimes we look back. So turn your back on your problem, or looking back on your problem, you know, which one are you doing? Which one are you? And that is the distinction we're making today, is to turn your back on the problem. Do not look back at it. To look back at it is to give it life, is to keep it crucified to yourself in your world. To look back at it is to take away the life that it has, is to starve it of life, starve it of consciousness, of awareness, and it will be gone, dissipated, extinct from your presence, from your experience. And what you focus on will then become the new experience in your life. That's the solution. All right. G, any last word before we leave?
Nah, G, all is well. Just
Okay.
remember who you are. Understand that ye are God, we are God, and our body is vehicle, is vessel. You know what I'm saying? So God is life, God is the soul, and
Mm.
our body is the tool that it uses to create, to paint, to experience, to what I'm saying, to be itself. So remember who you
Yeah.
are. That's it, G.
We are the top. We are the tabernacle. Thank you for that. We are the tabernacle, which was asked in the story by God to be built by the Israelites, which is our, individual consciousness. All of us together represents Israel, because we're all God, individualized. We're asked to build a tabernacle. It has to be elongated, which is elongated means like this, something not symmetrical, but um, elongated, right? And it's supposed to have skin, and it's supposed to be able to move or mobile. That can only be man. It cannot be a building that we call a church or a tabernacle today. It has to be man. And we're said to build it so that God can be worshipped. Okay? And wherever you go, God is always there. So it can't be a building. It has to be talking about the body of man is the vessel in which um, consciousness abides. Okay? Um, it's really that simple. All right? If you look at it like that, from that standpoint. All right? That's it, guys. Love you. And we will be back here again. When we come back next week, Sunday, we're going to address what is the real meaning of the story that talks about the rich man versus the camel going through the eye of a needle, where it says that it's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle, of the needle, than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Who and what is the rich man? We're going to address that next week. All right. Until then, as we say, walk good and enjoy the rest.